The Baltimore Ravens take on the Cleveland Browns in an AFC North battle. How do the Browns look with a new play caller and a new quarterback? Can the Ravens win their sixth straight game? We're diving into all the details of this matchup in this game preview episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans and Browns fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got a great AFC North battle, and I know Cleveland hasn't looked that good. The record's not great, but they got a lot of new variables entering this game with a new quarterback, a new play caller. Let's dive into all the details. We'll start with the injury report. Big news for the Ravens today is that Zay Flowers did return to practice, and he played the rest of that Monday night game after his ankle injury as well. So I'm not shocked by this, that they sat him out for a couple days on a shorter week, and then now he's practicing. But reports said that he had high energy. He was flying around today in practice. So all signs are pointing towards Zay Flowers playing in this game. Nate Wiggins and Travis Jones should also go. They did miss some practice earlier in the week, but they returned. Travis Jones is dealing with an ankle injury, though. He did not look the same in Monday night's game versus Tampa, so that is something to watch. The Ravens should get cornerback Arthur Millette back in this game. They reinstated him to the active roster. I think he's ready to go. The Ravens did list Marlon Humphrey as doubtful, so no surprise. He is not going to play this week after missing practice all week, so that is the big loss for the Ravens. And then moving over to the Browns side, they're getting a big offensive lineman back, Wyatt Teller, that is going to help boost their line, which has been pretty banged up, but they are probably going to be without left tackle Jedrick Willis. He has not practiced all week. Also, linebacker Jordan Hicks has not practiced all week, but the big name there is Jedrick Willis on that line. He is their starting left tackle. And from my understanding, Browns fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think DeJuan Jones would be the guy to step in and replace Jedrick Willis, and then there may be some reshuffling on the line. You might have to switch tackles and things like that, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out, but the Browns should be without their left tackle. Let's dive into the details of this game. So the Browns offense is going to look a lot different. They have a new quarterback in Jameis Winston. We've seen him in a small sample size here and there. He did come in at the very end of that game last week against Cincinnati and ended up starting to sling it down the field and threw a touchdown to Njoku. So we're getting a different element of this Browns offense. Everything you've been seeing with Watson, everything that basically led to their 1-6 record is not the case right now, because they now have a new play caller in Ken Dorsey, and they have a brand new quarterback in Jameis Winston, who I think is an upgrade over Deshaun Watson and DTR. So it seems like the Browns are going to get a lift here. You know, I'm expecting them to be pushing the ball downfield a lot more than they have been throughout the rest of the season, because we know Jameis slings it, man. It's every time he's ever been in on any offense, this guy's pushing the ball downfield. And that could also lead to picks. I'm not saying that Jameis Winston is, the best quarterback in the league or anything. So he's definitely prone to make some mistakes and make some bad decisions or some bad throws. And with a banged up offensive line, I know they're getting Wyatt Teller back, but there's a lot of injuries on that Browns offensive line and probably going to be without their left tackle. I think that this is an opportunity for our edge to get home. We've been talking for weeks now about how the Ravens pass rush needs to step up, help out that secondary who's been struggling. It goes hand in hand. If you're getting to the quarterback really fast, naturally your secondary is going to play a lot better. So I think that we need to make sure that we are getting to Jameis Winston, making him uncomfortable, making him make decisions very quickly, and he's going to make some mistakes. But if he's got all day back there, he has every capability in the world to push the ball downfield, and I think the Browns offense gets a lot more dynamic with a guy like Jameis Winston. It's almost like when Joe Flacco came in last year for the Browns at the end of the year. And they also brought Nick Chubb back last week, so that is another wrinkle to worry about. Jerome Ford's out, but Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb, man. We've played against this guy many times, and he's got us many times. He is not an easy back to deal with. The Ravens do have the best run defense in the NFL, so that is one thing that we definitely have going for us in that situation. I think that we need to stop the run and get pressure on Jameis Winston. And by them trading Amari Cooper away a few weeks ago, that is going to make it a little bit easier, especially when the Ravens aren't going to have Marlon Humphrey. I think that we can manage covering their receivers with Stevens and Wiggins. The Ravens secondary should be able to match up well against these wide receivers. There's really no game-breaking wide receivers. I think the duo of having Cooper and Jeudy, along with a guy like Tillman and Elijah Moore, brings a lot more trouble because Cooper can beat a lot of one-on-one matchups. Jeudy can also win some one-on-one matchups. So I think them getting rid of Cooper kind of offsets this blow of us not having Marlon Humphrey. And we should be able to hold these receivers long enough as long as we can get some pressure on Winston. If we can't get pressure on Winston, then he's definitely going to get some plays downfield. There's no doubt about it. We've been seeing a leaky secondary all season long. So I am a little bit more concerned than I would be if we're playing the Browns with Deshaun Watson. I would say that their short passing offense is perfect for us to deal with, but now I'm expecting them to push the ball down the field. I'm expecting some new wrinkles that we haven't seen on film too, because they have a new offensive coordinator. They have a new play caller. They're bound to look a lot different. It's kind of hard to predict exactly what you're getting from Cleveland's offense, but I think in this situation, the Ravens' recipe for success in slowing their offense down is just stopping the run and getting to Jameis Winston as fast as possible, force Jameis into making some boneheaded throws, and we have to capitalize on those turnovers. That means catching the interception that falls in your lap. I'm talking to the entire defense, but we've seen a lot of drops from Ardarius Washington and Nate Wiggins, Roquan Smith, just some picks that are right there, man, that we're not capitalizing on. And on the other side of the ball, the Ravens offense has been scoring at a record pace. So we need as many turnovers as we can to keep getting the ball back to the offense. Let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball for the Ravens against this Browns defense, which is still very talented. This is one of the top defenses in the league last year. They haven't been playing as well this year, but that is mainly, in my opinion, because of a stale offense. You know, when you keep throwing a defense out there, when you're not moving the ball on long drives and you're constantly going 3 and out and just not getting any type of points on the board to create separation and give some advantages to the defense. You know, the Ravens defense starts to play a lot better. We saw it last week with a lead. When the Ravens get up 2-3 possessions, all of a sudden the pass rush looks great. Everything starts working. So the Browns defense hasn't been in those situations, and therefore has not been looking as good as last year. Their numbers are very average compared to what they were looking like last year, but that talent's still there. They got a really talented defensive front with Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. They got good corners, man. Denzel Ward is a really good corner. I like Newsome in the slot. I think that they are able to cause some problems for the Ravens. They also know the Ravens well. You know, this is not a team that they are unfamiliar with. It definitely gives me pause. It's games like Cleveland and Pittsburgh that worry me a little bit about our offense stalling. But this year in particular, they haven't played against this Ravens offense with Derrick Henry. And that's not something that you can just ignore. There's a couple major elements that the Ravens offense has changed this year. And that is, for one, we're able to run the ball way better because of a guy like Derrick Henry. Huge upgrade over Gus Edwards that the Browns were seeing last year. And then another is Lamar and Todd Monken's answer to the blitz. They're killing the blitz, man. The Browns love to stack the box and bring pressure. I'm going to imagine that that's going to be their plan. They're going to play a lot of man, and they're going to try and stop the run. That is most likely what's going to happen. We've seen that the past few weeks over and over again, every team trying to do that. And we're killing teams when they blitz. Our wide receivers are winning their one-on-one matchups. Our tight ends are winning their one-on-one matchups against the linebackers and safeties. And we are attacking teams downfield. There's a ton of space because they're bringing everyone up close to stop this run game, to try and keep Lamar in the pocket, to stop Derrick Henry and get bodies on him as quick as possible. And then we're just quick throwing downfield. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. It's hard to contain. So I'm going to guess that's how the Browns are going to attack this game. And then I got confidence because we've seen it the last few weeks that the Ravens receivers are going to be able to win these battles. I know Zay Flowers is banged up with an ankle injury, but I think he's okay. I think that they just sat him out for 2 practices because he had that ankle sprain in the game on Monday, but he played out that game. You know, he finished the entire game. So he played on that ankle injury, and a couple days of rest before Friday practice is not a surprising thing or anything to be concerned about. So I'm expecting pretty much full strength Zay Flowers. He might be slightly hobbled. Hopefully he doesn't re-aggravate it or anything like that. But I think we're going to get Zay Flowers, 90% self. Rashad Bateman's balling and coming on game after game, getting stronger and stronger, his connection with Lamar. So that's something to look out for. It's really hard to cover Zay Flowers in space, it just is. Or Isaiah Likely against a slower linebacker. It's really tough. And the Ravens are really good at creating those matchups. So I still have confidence that this Ravens offense is going to continue to roll. I think that they have answers to everything a defense can possibly bring. Although I do acknowledge that they got game wreckers on that side of the ball. Cleveland has some guys that can blow the game up, mainly Myles Garrett, but we know that. We have seen and played against Myles Garrett countless times, and for the most part, neutralize him. I know our offensive line isn't super stacked, but they're playing really well right now, and am I going to be surprised if Myles Garrett gets through and blows up a play or two and gets a sack or two? No, I'm not surprised. But as long as we're not turning the ball over, as long as it's not a strip sack and giving them easy points, I think that we can survive a couple pressures and sacks and still be able to continuously push the ball downfield. Our answers to the blitz and our ability to adjust quickly in the beginning of the game just gives me a lot of confidence that there's just not much Cleveland's going to be able to throw our way to slow this offense down. Cleveland's going to have to put up some points in this game if they want to win. The Ravens are not going to be in a situation where their offense just can't score points. I don't see that happening outside of injuries. I just don't see that happening pretty much the rest of this year until there's some kind of formula out there that can slow this offense down. But it really is a pick your poison offense. And most teams, at least recently, have been picking to stop the run to try and slow Henry down at all costs. And Lamar's killing them through the air. So we'll see what Cleveland does. It's definitely interesting to see week to week what each team chooses to do or how they want to play this Ravens offense. But I don't really see a scenario where the Ravens offense can't continue to score. Are they going to put up 40? Probably not. It's a division game. It always gets a little tighter, a little harder to move the ball, it seems like, and I expect that the Browns will get a couple extra stops than maybe Tampa did on Monday night, but that doesn't mean the Ravens offense can't score 30, and I still see them scoring 30 in this game. Speaking of the score, let's dive into some score predictions and just some predictions overall in this game. Let me know what you guys are thinking as well, but I'm going with the Ravens winning this one 30-20. I do see the Browns getting a couple more stops. I think their defense is going to play a lot more motivated being at home. Having a lot of offensive change is probably exciting to that locker room. A lot of guys love Jameis Winston in the locker room and rally around him, so I definitely think there's that weird dark cloud or pressure with the Deshaun Watson situation that is lifted a little bit, and there's some clearer skies for the Browns, which can give them confidence, and I really could see them playing their best game against us on Sunday. But this Ravens team is rolling at an all-time level, and as long as this Ravens defense can force Jameis into a couple mistakes, as I expect they will, then I think the Ravens can definitely win this one. They're favored by 9.5. I do have them covering that. Now, if we're not getting pressure or can't stop the run and Chubb's running all over us and we can't get the Jameis, then yeah, they're going to score more than 20 for sure, and we're going to have a higher scoring game on our hands like we've seen these past few weeks. But I do see the Ravens defense stepping up. I'm going with them getting 5 sacks in this game, and Jameis is going to throw 2 interceptions. So 2 turnovers and 5 sacks for the defense. I think that is enough to hold the Browns to 20 points. And then my bold prediction for this game is Lamar Jackson has 100 yards on the ground in this game. I just think with how much man defense the Browns will play that Lamar may have some opportunities on some passing plays to just take off and get some yards himself, which he doesn't mind doing when the lane is there. And I think there could be a couple of those lanes. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are about this game. I know a lot of people are feeling a little uneasy. I'm hearing some trap game talk. I definitely don't think the Ravens are going to fall victim to a trap game. I think they're taking every game serious, especially these in-division games. I don't think that they're going to take the Browns lightly by any means, and essentially that's what a trap game is, right? Like, the other team doesn't take the weaker team seriously, and you get beat by them. I don't really see that happening. I think the Ravens are going to have their normal effort. I don't think that they're falling victim to a trap game, but the Browns are going to play better. I really don't see a scenario where the Browns don't play better than they have been, at least offensively. So I think that naturally can keep this game closer, can give the Browns a real chance of potentially winning this game, especially if it is close. You know, we've seen the Ravens collapse in the fourth quarter before, so it wouldn't shock me if this is the Browns' best game of the year and they happen to pull off the upset. I wouldn't be mind blown by that, but I don't necessarily think that the Ravens are like trapped in that situation. I just think the Browns aren't quite as bad as their record shows right now. And with all the changes, I think these are positive changes for the Browns. It's going to make them a little bit better and that much harder to beat. So the Ravens definitely don't have an easy game this Sunday. And I do think they're going to win the game. I think that they're the better team for sure, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean we're going to blow them out. And it doesn't mean that Cleveland has no chance to win. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this one. Another division matchup, a little bit more of a grimy division matchup than the Cincinnati style game. I think Cleveland, at least defensively, is closer to Pittsburgh. And I like to see our offense go against these types of defenses to see if we can continue rolling like we are, because our division defenses that we have to go against are probably what concern me most. You know, a Cleveland or Pittsburgh has shut us down and caused a lot of problems before. So we'll see if that happens now that the Ravens have Derrick Henry and Lamar and Todd Monken are more dialed in and have more answers than they've ever had in the past. So I'm excited, man. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think about this game, score predictions, bold predictions, X factors, whatever you guys want to talk about. I am definitely down to conversate in the comments and chop it up with you guys. And I appreciate you all, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Finish him!